Superintelligence is the brand new HBO Max original film, another streaming service with a new movie this week. This film stars the likes of Melissa McCarthy, Bobby Cannavale, Brian Tyree Henry, Gene Smart, Ben Falcone, and James Corden. It tells a story about when an all-powerful superintelligence chooses to study average Carol Peters, who's played by Melissa McCarthy. The fate of the world hangs in the balance as the AI decides to enslave, save, or destroy humanity. It's up to Carol to prove that people are worth saving. The film is also directed by Melissa's husband, Ben Falcone. It's an hour 46 and is PG. Before we get into this review of Superintelligence on HBO Max, let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts before we head into this review. Non-spoiler fashion, did you like this movie? Did you hate this movie? Is this the best movie that Melissa McCarthy and Ben Falcone have done together? Tell me your pros, cons in the non-spoiler fashion in the comment section down below. Also, a great way to support this channel is to hit that like button. Also, if you're new to the channel, thank you. Welcome to Max Talks Movies. Please consider hitting that subscribe button, ring that bell. Movie reviews, TV show reviews, net streaming platform reviews, and movie rankings are all the stuff I do on this YouTube channel. So if you're interested in any of those things, I would highly recommend hitting all those buttons. Now let's get into the review. So I was pretty nervous, skeptical about this movie because of obviously the idea that Ben Falcone, who is Melissa McCarthy's husband, directing her once again for the 4th time. And so far, in my opinion, they have been 0 for 3. They've done Tammy, they have done The Boss, and they have done Life of the Party, all movies that at the best, are average. So the question is, could this be the one with a new plot? It feels like the biggest scope that the couple has done before together. It's a great cast. You have Brian Tyree Henry in here. You have James Corden, who is the voice of the superintelligence, the AI. You have Bobby Cannavale. You have Gene Smart. So you have a lot of really good casting here. So could the movie work? And I'll go through my positives, and then I'll go through my negatives, and then I'll give you my overall score. So I guess one of the rare positives I can really find in this movie is that this cast is really, really good in the movie. Easily my MVP for the entire film is Brian Tyree Henry, who I'm really happy that he's just popping in and everything. Obviously, if you're like me and was an OG Atlanta person, then Atlanta, he is just really, really killing it since Atlanta. And obviously they're filming more seasons coming, but he is easily probably one of, if not the only funny character in the entire movie. And this is a comedy, so if that tells you where you already know where I am with this movie. Every time he's on screen, the movie has a lot of energy, and there is when the comedy kind of comes in, when his jokes always work in the movie for the most part. Like his type of comedy is the type of comedy that lend itself well to me. So I really enjoyed his character. He plays a character named Dennis who basically runs a section of Microsoft, and because he had communication with the AI, the president brings him in to help run the program, which again doesn't really make a lot of sense, but that's what his role in the movie is. He is really, really funny in his little parts. I actually like the interaction between Melissa McCarthy and the voice James Corden. Now, there's an AI, and it chooses a voice based off of the character's comfortability. So we saw one of the characters had an Adam Levine voice. One character had to use an Octavia Spencer voice for the AI. And for Melissa McCarthy, the AI chose James Corden, which is her favorite. So basically, James Corden is basically the AI for 95% of the movie. So if you don't like James Corden, you're not going to like this movie because you're just hearing his voice throughout the entire film. If you do like James Corden, I would definitely check this one out just because he's popping in. You do see James Corden kind of pop up, because sometimes at places there are ads, but the AI takes over the ads, so actual James Corden can talk to Melissa McCarthy. So there's stuff like that they plug in, which I actually enjoyed. They had good banter per se. And again, Melissa McCarthy isn't bad in any way, but she's definitely watchable, and this cast is watchable. Cannavale is good for what he was given. I'll talk about what his character is in the negatives for sure. And yeah, I mean, this movie definitely goes for it, is what I'll say. It could be a positive, could be negative. The film absolutely goes for it with this plot. And I'm sorry, but the only way I can really talk about this movie is talk about it with my negatives, because this is another swing and a miss, and a bigger swing and a miss for this couple working together once again. The main issues with the movie is that this movie has no idea what it wants to be. At points, it wants to be a sci-fi film. Then it wants to be a comedy. And then for some reason, IMDb and even HBO Max consider this an action comedy with the movie having 0% action. There's no action in this movie, none. Not even if you count Melissa McCarthy running is action, sure, but there's literally no action in the entire film. And it just seems like, and also one of my main issues was they have bits. As you do in comedy movies, you have a bit that continues to go on. But this movie has bits that go on for so long, and the movie's only an hour 45. They could have cut a lot of this because you've seen the trailer, there's a bit with Melissa McCarthy sitting on this beanbag, and it's funny the first or second time she falls, but then it happens 3 or 4 times, and you're like, Jesus, could we just move on from this joke? And it happens 3 or 4 times throughout the movie, which was a big issue. And also, I think out of all of these movies, most of these characters are written to be total idiots. And also, not just total idiots, but the idea of common sense is just thrown out the window. And sometimes I like movies where sometimes common sense doesn't really matter in a movie, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But this movie definitely needed a lot more common sense. For example, Bobby Cannavale, the whole thing about his character, that he's about to move to Greece to teach for a year. But during this, they do a full-on blackout of the entire world. No internet, no phone, just total blackout. And while that's happening, Bobby Cannavale thinks that you can just get on a plane and go during a blackout. And it's some of this, that's just a little bit. But as I said, I'll go back to the characters are written very poorly. Cannavale's character is written very, very poorly. He's probably one of the most hated characters I have in the entire movie, and it's not because of Cannavale. It's because they just throw him into the mix out of nowhere. Again, I didn't see the trailer. I saw the cast. I saw the posters. So I assumed they were the main characters. But maybe not even, basically at the halfway mark, the first half of the movie is just Melissa McCarthy building a relationship with James Corden, basically, as the AI. Just building a relationship. The AI gives her stuff. And then all of a sudden, the second half of the movie wants to be a romantic comedy. And that's the thing that I was trying to bring up with. It doesn't know what it is. First half was kind of a sci-fi film that could work, and it could work. But then the second half just wants to be a rom-com with a message, and the rom-com wasn't really there because we have no idea why these two are together. The whole point is that Melissa McCarthy is 2 years separated from a 3-year relationship with Cannavale, and the AI wants her to reunite with him and hang out and do some stuff. And we're basically just told in exposition fashion that these people loved each other because basically the first time they see each other in 2 years, they're already kissing each other. And it just doesn't make any logistical sense why this is happening. A lot of this movie is so frustrating because there's minor tweaks. This could have made this a really fun little comedy for HBO Max. But and also just the common sense, as I said, Brian Tyree Henry's character being one of the main strategists for taking care of this AI because he works in a small portion of Microsoft, made no sense. And also, they really didn't build his relationship with Melissa McCarthy whatsoever. We maybe get a scene or two, and the most we get that they're friends, that Tyree Henry calls her Care Bear because her name is Carol. And I don't know why that we just didn't get more background on anyone. And once again, guys, Melissa McCarthy is playing an average Joe where they have to turn around and have a powerful message. And I think we're all kind of getting tired of Melissa McCarthy playing this person who's the average Joe, I guess. And wasn't really that average in the movie. And she plays this average Joe, and they have to put a dress on her. They have to change her look. And we've kind of seen that in a lot of Melissa McCarthy movies. And guess what, guys? I am a huge Melissa McCarthy fan. Bridesmaids, Identity Thief, and Spy. Spy is one of my favorite comedies. It's not my favorite of the past 5 years. So when she is on, she is on. But for some reason, when she gets into these movies with Ben Falcone, all 4 of them, she isn't really funny in them. And it's really hard to make her not funny, but for some reason, her own husband can't direct her to be funny. And it's a huge disappointment because, again, she's watchable. And yeah, she has a couple really funny bits in there. But as a whole, this movie really struggles with giving her anything to work with. So guys, overall, I had a real rough time with this movie. This is definitely not the best Melissa McCarthy, Ben Falcone connection, but it's definitely the most frustrating connection that we've had with this connection. So overall, guys, I'm giving this a 1.5 out of 5, a 30%. That's as high as I can go. I was really annoyed. I was having a fun enough time with the movie, and then when the movie ended, I thought about it for a while, and about how dumb it is and how convoluted and how it doesn't make any sense. So it's a 1.5 30%. So guys, before we end this review, in the comment section down below, let me know your thoughts of the movie Superintelligence. Let me know, do you agree with me, disagree with me? Tell me all your thoughts, not spoiler, in the comment section down below. Like, subscribe, share, do all of those things. Later today, I'll be doing my Mandalorian Season 2, Chapter 13 review, so stay tuned for that. And a very busy week. You can check out all my past reviews right now. See you guys in a little bit.